Is one of your goals to finally get your finances in order? If it is, then the very first step is to set up a budget. I know, it's not the most thrilling thing to do, but it is so important. Hi everyone, my name is Lisbeth, and I make videos that help you plan for a better financial future while living your best life today. So if that's something that interests you, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the bell notifications so that you don't miss out on new weekly videos. Today, I'm going to walk you through 5 easy to follow steps to help you create and maintain a personal budget. Just so you know, the entire point of a budget is simply to know where your money is coming from and where it ends up. It seems like a very simple concept, but it truly is the foundation to a good financial future. So if you're ready, make sure you hit that like button, and in the comments below, put whatever today's date is, because it is most likely the beginning to your financial journey. Let's get started. Step number 1, choose your method and track. So when it comes to choosing your method, you have to choose what works best for you. Is it paper or is it tech? And by tech, I mean an app, a website, or an Excel spreadsheet. I personally am a paper and pen person. However, I've worked with plenty of people who prefer something on their phone or something on a website, in which case I recommend the app or website that's called Mint. Mint helps you not only keep track of your budget, but it also helps you keep track of bills, all of your other accounts, your loans, your investments, your credit score. All that stuff is tied up under Mint. So by tracking, we are tracking your everyday expenses. Of course, things that you already know, like your rent, your car note, your student loans perhaps, your cell phone bill. Some of these bills, you already know what they are, and you know roughly how much they are, if not an exact amount. These are things that you should already write down because they are your fixed expenses. Now, your variable expenses, such as groceries, gas, going out to eat perhaps, entertainment, and other things that you don't quite know how much you spend every month, that's what we're keeping track of. So I normally recommend at least 1 month of tracking, and since we are in January, I don't quite recommend you looking back at your December spending, because more than likely you did a little bit of overspending when it came to Christmas. If you didn't though at all, then go ahead and use December as your tracking month. Now, of course, make sure you are also keeping track of your income. If you get paid on a monthly basis or a bi-weekly basis, put how much exactly you make. I've worked in the restaurant industry for many years, and I liked keeping track of my daily tips so I could average out how much I made over the month. So if you're in that kind of job, make sure you are keeping track of your income as well. Once you have written down or have access to at least a full month's worth of expenses, you can move on to step number 2. In step number 2, we categorize. So categories are completely up to you. I like to categorize my things by fixed expenses, such as my rent, my car note, and other categories that I include are utilities, because those are variable, groceries, Isabel, which is my daughter, she has her very own category because I do plenty of spending for her. I like to have a category for fun, for mom stuff, which is any kind of hobbies that I like to do. Of course, other categories can include like beauty if you are really into makeup. If you have any other kind of hobbies, you can put it all under hobby, so on and so forth. So once you have all of these categories based on what you've tracked is when you start listing all your tracked expenses into your categories. If you are a paper person and you're writing this down, I highly recommend you have the app to your bank that is linked to your debit card or credit card. This makes it so much easier to go through all of your transactions and pick out all the different expenses and put them in its designated category. Once you've moved all your tracked expenses to its designated category, you add it all up and you move on to step number 3. Before you get to actually start making your budget, step number 3 is about goals. Why are you even making a budget? Are you trying to get a hold of something in particular? Maybe you have a lot of debt, or you want to really pay off those student loans, or you just want to save more money. You have to have a goal here, and whatever your goal is, you need to write it down. Ideally, if you have a number, either how much credit card debt you have, how much in student loans you have, or what your emergency fund will look like, write that amount down. The more numbers you associate with a goal, the better it will help you keep track of it. So step number 3 is simply to set some goals. It could just be one, which is setting up an emergency fund, or it could really be to pay off something a lot faster. If so, set a goal up so that way you know exactly what you are working towards when you make this budget. The more precise your goals are, the better it will help you create your budget and stick to it. So have at least one goal down, the more the better, and if you're ready, move on to step number 4. In step number 4, we're actually going to make that budget. I know it took a whole 3 steps before actually making your budget, but a little bit of planning will work out in the long run, I promise. So based on the numbers that you had in step 2, which is the total amount in each category, this is where you're gonna make an actual budget. Of course, your fixed expenses like your rent, your car note, whatever bills you have due at a specific day, those come number 1. So list those out. Ideally, usually I do them in order of due dates. Eventually, you'd want to pay them all off at the beginning of the month. Crazy, I know, but that's a whole nother video. Now, when it comes to your miscellaneous expenses like clothes and shopping and going out, this is where you have to be realistic. I am in no way saying you should get rid of an entire category. You can if you think you can do it, but I don't believe in depriving yourself of something because I feel like that will make you go back to your old ways a lot faster. If instead you choose to lower the amount you spend every month, you will be a little bit more conscious about what you really want and if it really is worth it. Something else I like to do as well is do something called rotating categories. So for example, if I like clothes a lot and I like makeup a lot and I like buying a lot of things for my house, those are all 3 separate categories technically. Or you can put it all under shopping, but I like to keep them separate. So in order for me to keep myself from spending too much in every category, I choose to rotate those categories. I give myself a budget of $200 per se. So the first month I will spend those $200 in just clothes. I know, that's a lot of money for clothes, in my case at least. But that means that I don't spend any money in makeup and I don't spend any money in home decor. That second month, I will move on to makeup. I will give myself the same budget, which is $200, and be able to spend it on only makeup. Sometimes it means that I don't actually spend all $200 on makeup and I have a little bit of leftover to put more towards saving. In the last month, of course, I do home decor, and that's what I call a rotating category when it comes to budgeting for it. It gives me 2 months in between categories to kind of look around and see if that's really the makeup I want or really that home decor thing that I want. It makes me think a little bit more about the purchases I make because I only have that 1 month to make them. Of course, the rotating categories is not something you have to do. It's just something that I like to do, and I figured I would mention it in case anybody else is interested. Keeping track of your spending throughout the month and making sure that you are within that budget is very, very important. Since I am a paper person, I make notes according to how much of my budget I've used up, and if I'm completely out, then I know I can no longer spend in that category. If you are using Mint, then make sure that you are changing the category for that you have that specific expense written down for. So sometimes for some random reason, Chipotle might be under entertainment. That's probably not true, but there's some random ones in there. So just make sure that you're going back and changing it from that entertainment budget to the fast food budget, for example. There's also something else that you can do, which is called the envelope system, where you take out cash and you put them in its respective envelopes. You know, one is labeled groceries and there's a $200 budget, so you put the money into the envelope and you carry around the cash essentially, and you take it out as you need it. So you can only take money out of that individual envelope, and once you're out of money, then you're out of money. That's also a different method if you think that keeping track of it with your debit card or through Mint would be too much to do. There are plenty of videos about the envelope system. If you want me to make a video, I can definitely do that, but honestly, I've never actually done the envelope system. I've done something similar, but I am just not a cash person. I'll lose it. So once you have your budget down and how you're gonna keep track of it, you can move on to step number 5. And in step number 5, we reflect and we adjust. So, how did you do? Can you do better? During this step, we're making sure that you are patting yourself in the back if you spent less than you thought you would. But in the same sense, you can't beat yourself up for overspending any particular month. At the end of the day, as long as you reflect on what you did and you adjust accordingly, Don't give up simply because you didn't have such a good month. Just aim to do better the next month. Remember, we are aiming for improvement, not perfection. The overall goal is to just have one, maintain one, take care of it, treasure it. It really is something important that you need in your life. It doesn't have to be an exact science. It could just be a rough budget as long as it is working for you and you know exactly where your money is going. The important thing to note when it comes to a budget is that a budget is helping you live within your means and helping you plan for the future. So there you have it, 5 easy to follow steps so that you can create and maintain a budget that fits your life. If you have any additional questions about a budget, about how I budget in particular, make sure to leave your comments down below for me. I've maintained a budget as a single person living on my own during college. I've maintained a budget as a waitress, so not necessarily having a paycheck every week or two, so my income was all over the place. I've maintained a budget with dual income, and now I'm maintaining a budget as a single mom. So no matter what your situation is, there is always a budget to be had. If you have any sort of money coming in, then you should really have a budget. Simple as that. If you like this kind of video, make sure you give it a thumbs up so I can make more similar videos. Next week though, I will have a video all about Mint and how it works and how you can make it work the best for you. So don't forget to subscribe so that you don't miss out on it next week. If you would like more daily tips and inspiration, then make sure you are following me on my Instagram page or my Facebook group. I hope you find this helpful. I thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to y'all next time. Bye guys.